The following video begins with the camera shaking slightly, the person behind it clearly nervous. A young woman is filming inside her bathroom after noticing something strange. The toilet paper roll swaying on its own, and the blinds shifting as if a breeze was pushing through, even though the window is closed.
I don't remember fucking opening that. What the fuck is that? Yeah. Okay. Oh shit. What the fuck is that? What is that? Why? That's on the outside. What honestly is that? What honestly is that? I gotta use my... What the fuck is... It's on the outside! It's on the outside! I'm scared. I'm terrified. I'm scared. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?
Once she starts to record, she moves closer, her breathing quick, whispering to herself as she reaches for the blinds to check behind them. There's nothing there, just an empty window. She turns the camera back toward the window, and that's when it happens. 3 distinct finger marks suddenly drag themselves across the surface, leaving behind white scratch-like streaks, as if something unseen had swiped at it. The sound is faint, but sharp, enough to make her jump back. She slams the blinds shut, muttering nervously before quickly walking out of the bathroom. The clip ends abruptly, the camera still trembling, and whatever made those marks remains completely unseen. Ellen had been home alone that night when the knocking started. At first, it was faint, but then it grew louder, more desperate, like someone begging to be let inside. The camera shakes slightly in his hands as he walks through the dimly lit hallway toward the front door, his voice trembling as he whispers that he's scared.
Pensé que ya lo había visto todo, pero... Oh my God. Pero... esto es lo que está sucediendo en estos momentos. Sonidos y gritos extraños. Y ahora la puerta. Como pueden ver, estoy completamente solo. No sé a qué me estoy enfrentando, pero tengo mucho miedo, mucho miedo. Vamos a ver qué es lo que podemos captar. No sé si ustedes logran ver algo o logran ver a ver qué o quién está haciendo esos ruidos, ese llanto. Son las 4:45 de la madrugada y no, nada más esto me faltaba. No manches.
The knocking continues in sharp bursts until he finally reaches for the lock and hesitantly opens the door. For a moment, there's only silence, and then soft crying can be heard from outside. The sound is faint but heart-wrenching, echoing through the empty street. Ellen freezes, then quickly shuts the door again, locking it tightly and backing away. He tries to calm his breathing as he walks off, clearly in a state of distress and nerves. But before he can reach his room, a low, eerie whistling begins from behind the door, slow and deliberate, as if whoever or whatever was out there knew he was listening. The clip cuts there, ending with Ellen running toward his room in pure panic. Sophie had been feeling uneasy all day after hearing strange noises in her room, the kind that made her question if someone else was there. To calm down, she stepped outside with a ball, kicking it gently across the yard while trying not to look back at the house. The camera follows her as she walks further away, her tone light but nervous. She must have been starting to feel better at least.
I'm like really paranoid right now. Ew, it smells weird in my mouth. Oh, that just went. Hello? I'm like, hell no, I'm out. I'm done. That's it. I'm out. No.
About a minute and 16 seconds into the recording, a faint whisper can be heard calling her name. The most frightening part is that it isn't just any voice, it's her own, perfectly matching her tone and pitch, but coming from behind her near the house. She freezes instantly, the ball rolling to a stop beside her foot. The whisper repeats, softer this time, almost teasing. Without hesitating, Sophie sprints back toward the house, the camera shaking wildly as she fumbles for the door. She rushes inside, slams it shut, and locks it, her breathing heavy. Who knows if she truly escaped whatever this was that night, but what we do know is she is too frightened to inform her parents. Late one night, Wyatt was sitting on his bed when his dog suddenly started barking toward the window. At first, he thought it was just another animal outside, but the dog's behavior quickly turned strange. It wasn't looking out the window. It was staring just beside it, inside the room.
It has been freaking me out for about 15 minutes. I know, dude. What's going on? What are you seeing? Something's been spooking him. He's jumping around. This dude. What are you seeing? Why don't you back up? Charlie. I know. Calm down. It's okay. What are you seeing? You're freaking me out, buddy. Do we need to go? Should we go, Bubba? You tell me when it's time to go. Because I don't know what you're looking at, but when we need to go, you let me know, buddy. What's freaking you out, bub? Okay. Should we go? Yeah? You leave when we gotta go. As soon as you walk out, I'll be right behind you.
Wyatt aimed the camera in that direction, but nothing could be seen. The dog, however, wouldn't stop growling, its fur raised and tail tucked low, letting out uneasy whines between low rumbles. Wyatt tried to calm it, gently saying it was okay, but the dog's focus stayed fixed on something above eye level. as if whatever it saw was tall and standing against the wall. The tension builds until Wyatt nervously asks his dog if it wants to go. That's when it happens. A faint, unmistakable male voice answers softly from the direction of the window. It says, "Yes," but in a tone that's quiet and almost playful. Wyatt doesn't actually realize the ghost replies, whilst the dog slowly backs away, still growling at the empty space. The clip ends there, leaving the voice unexplained. A woman had started filming after hearing footsteps echoing faintly through her house late at night. Her voice is quiet, unsure, as she moves from room to room, trying to figure out where the sounds are coming from. She eventually stops outside the bathroom with an evident suspicion that it may be involved with the haunting. The air feels heavy, and for a few seconds, everything goes still. She steps inside the bathroom, looking around with the camera pointed toward the mirror and shower, but nothing seems out of place. Then, just as she's about to turn the camera off, something subtle happens. Exactly 1 minute into the video, a clear shadow passed across the railings of the stairs ahead of her, and it was moving smoothly as if someone had just walked by. The woman didn't notice it at the moment, but when she reviewed the footage later, that shadow confirmed what she'd feared all along. She hadn't been alone in the house that night. Misty had decided to post a follow-up video after her previous paranormal clip gained a lot of attention. In this one, she slowed the footage down to show what really happened. It was from her baby cam facing the crib where her youngest was sleeping, while her older son's bunk bed was left vacant due to him being at football practice.
Hey y'all, I see all of your comments coming through. I had no idea that this video was going to blow up like it did, so I have not been able to respond to everybody. A lot of you had said that the video was too fast for you to see anything, so I'll include it on here with it slowed down. I still have no idea what happened or what that was. I left the house today. My son had a football game and my mother-in-law was here. She lost internet for like, I don't know, maybe 2 hours. That was really the only weird thing that happened while I was gone for her. And that's all I have. It was a 4-second video. As soon as I saw that object appear on the top of the bunk bed, I just threw my phone and camera and I just went running up there. So I just really didn't get much longer of a video than that. I will see how tonight goes and see what we need to do further, if it's nothing or if it ends up being something. So have a good night.
For a few seconds, everything looks peaceful until a strange shadow-like object suddenly pops out from the side of the bunk. It moves quickly, almost like it's crawling or leaning forward, before vanishing just as fast as it appeared. Misty immediately ran upstairs when she first saw it live, convinced something was in the room, but when she got there, nothing was out of place. No one else was upstairs, and her baby was sound asleep. Thankfully, the baby was completely fine, but the slowed-down footage made it impossible to ignore that something unexplainable had definitely appeared beside the crib. After the slowed-down footage went viral, a lot of people in the comments wanted to know more about the room itself, so Misty decided to vlog the entire space to clear things up. She started by explaining that the baby had been moved into this room recently from what was now her home office. From the start of the video, she admits she always feels uneasy there, saying it's hard to even breathe when she walks inside. Take a look at what happens when she plucks up the courage to enter, though.
Okay, a lot of y'all were asking about the room situation, so I'm gonna run that through real quick. We moved my daughter from this room into this room. She got new furniture. That's why the bunk bed is still in there. Then we moved the baby from my office, which used to be her bedroom, now it's my office again, up into this room. So this is the attic that's in between the rooms that I was talking about that's cracked. It's been that way for a while, so it's not something that I'm overly concerned about, but y'all have got me freaking out in the comments. I cannot even breathe walking in this room, so I am truly terrified, but I'm gonna walk y'all in here real quick. This is the bunk bed. This is where I took her out of her crib, ran up the bunk bed. There was nothing up there when I came. We have her rocking chair, her changing station, her closet with all of the stuff that we still need to put up. This is where I have everything that was gifted. I know a lot of y'all were saying check stuff that came from a thrift store or that wasn't yours because it might be causing it. I will show you guys up here. There's nothing suspicious. There's no hair from like a rat or something that could have came in. This is marker. These are still tucked in on the sides, like they're still tight from, you know, if somebody was trying to be underneath the blankets. I don't think that's plausible. So I don't know. I have no idea what could be causing it. Oh my God, it's rocking.
She turns the light on and shows that nothing seems unusual at first. The crib sits quietly in the corner, and she points up to the top bunk to prove there's nothing up there either. Everything appears normal, but as she's talking, something subtle shifts in the background. The small chair next to the bed begins to rock gently on its own. Misty freezes, the camera shaking slightly as she realizes what's happening. The chair keeps moving, slow but deliberate, as if someone invisible had just stood up from it. The clip cuts off as she lets out a loud scream and starts her escape from the room, ending the video abruptly. In the next video, Misty is sitting in the living room doing her daughter's hair, trying to get back to normal after everything that had happened. She's chatting softly to her, laughing here and there, and for the first few seconds, everything feels calm.
Mom.
How'd you sleep last night?
Good, but Avery woke up a lot last night.
Oh, you slept with me. How would you have heard her wake up? She slept all night.
There was music playing from her room. You guys were like laughing.
Are you sure you weren't dreaming?
I don't think I was dreaming. I got like no sleep.
Sorry, baby.
Oh, it's Brandon. Hi, Brandon.
Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning.
You already awake?
Yeah.
How was your night?
Sissy said that Avery kept her up all night because she said she heard her like laughing and playing and music going in her room.
Didn't you have her in the room last night, or room?
Yeah, I had Avery last night.
Yeah, you have some crazy dreams, or?
That's what I said.
I'm just gonna call, make sure you're awake and getting ready. Well, I love you. I'll call you later, okay?
Love you.
Okay, bye, babe.
Then, around 11 seconds in, a faint voice can be heard over the background noise. It's quiet, but clear enough to make out. It says, "Hey." Misty doesn't seem to notice it right away, but viewers caught it instantly and flooded the comments asking who else was in the room. She later confirmed that it was just her and her daughter home at the time. No one else had been in the house, and the voice hadn't come from the TV or her phone. After hearing it back herself, Misty admitted she's now looking into how to sell the house altogether, saying she can't shake the feeling that whatever was in there isn't finished with them yet. Dom was in his room late at night, just winding down after a long day. The house was quiet, too quiet, and he was just starting to relax when he noticed something strange. His bedroom door began opening and closing on its own. Hesitant but curious, he grabbed his camera and waited.
Guys, like, what the heck? I'm home alone right now. I'm literally like shaking right now, and my door keeps on moving by itself. There's like no windows open or nothing, and I'm definitely home alone. Like, what the? Oh my! What the? Hello? Hello? Is anybody in here? What in the heck? Hello? I swear you bet. Hello? You better not be pranking me right now. What the hell? Oh!
The door swung shut again, and Dom quickly got up to see what could be causing it. When he looked, nothing was there. Shaken, he turned back toward the hallway, but then another door down the hall slammed closed. Heart racing, he ran over and opened it, but to his dismay, the bathroom was empty. The house was silent once more, leaving Dom unsettled and unsure of what he had just witnessed. After this, Dom said he spent the rest of the night on edge, constantly checking the doors and considering calling a paranormal expert to figure out what might be haunting his home. The next day, Dom went about his routine, relieved that nothing else had happened. He passed it off as a one-time strange occurrence and tried to convince himself the house was normal. But that night, just as the clock struck midnight, he was jolted awake by a chill running through the room. In the dim moonlight, his camera captured a shadowy figure, half hidden, peeking out from his closet. Its shape was disturbingly human, yet something about it seemed wrong, demonic even. Fear rooted him to the spot for a moment, but adrenaline pushed him to get out of bed and check inside the closet. After it vanished back into the darkness, the space was empty, leaving him shaken and unsure of what he had just witnessed. After this terrifying encounter, Dom said he spent the rest of the night too scared to sleep, constantly glancing at the closet and considering reaching out to a paranormal expert. He admitted the experience left a lingering fear that his house was far from the safe haven it once was, and he began contemplating steps to protect himself from whatever unseen presence seemed to be haunting him. Rosanna was asleep one night, peacefully as ever, when she was abruptly woken by a series of loud, piercing screams that echoed through the house. Groggy and startled, she grabbed her camera to record what was happening.
Gizmo.
The screams were audible first, sharp and chilling, and then her bedroom door began opening on its own. Terrified, she quickly shut it, only for it to swing open again almost immediately. Hesitant but compelled, she stepped out of the room, and that's when something even stranger appeared. A small, black blur in the bottom right corner of the camera frame. The sight was sudden and inexplicable, causing her to stumble back into her room, unsure whether what she saw was a ghost or some other unseen force blocking her path. After this, Rosanna said she felt exhausted and unnerved, unsure if she would ever understand what had visited her that night, and that the experience left her shaken well into the next day. Mykolenko, one of the most skilled ghost hunters out there, had been doing this long enough to know when a location would be bad. This time, he was searching a dark, decrepit house, hoping to secure a payout from a client who wanted proof of paranormal activity. He already suspected the place was haunted, but he didn't expect just how intense it would get.
Резко свет. Все, батарея разряжена. Только включу.
As his camera rolled, a cupboard creaked open just an inch on its own, followed moments later by a cabinet swinging fully open with no one near it. Then, almost as if whatever was in the house was trying to stop him, the battery on his motion detector suddenly died, cutting short what felt like a major paranormal surge. Mykolenko left with undeniable evidence and once again, a satisfied client who paid him in full. Subscribe because Mykolenko will be appearing in future videos. Eji and his wife were fast asleep when a series of strange noises jolted them awake. At first, they couldn't quite make out what they were hearing, but the more they listened, the more it became chilling. It sounded almost like demonic laughter, mixed with the faint cry of a baby.
Cobalah dicek. Apa? Kan ada apa-apa.
As the camera recorded, the unsettling noises continued before the carpet covering a lamp suddenly got launched away, sending the lamp crashing to the floor. The couple froze, unsure if they should run or investigate. In the aftermath, Eji said they barely slept that night and have since been debating whether to bring in a paranormal investigator or simply leave the house altogether. They decided against getting an expert because their budget was too low, and for the next few days, nothing out of the ordinary happened. They thought they were safe, but when Eji went to his boxing gym, things took a terrifying turn.
Ada nyala, Cok, nggak ada orang.
While hitting the punching bag, he suddenly heard a piano playing from another building. He followed the sound and found the piano playing entirely on its own. As he searched for a possible explanation, a strange noise came from a nearby closet, eerily similar to the laugh from before, sending him running. They are now contacting a priest to deal with whatever is haunting them. Jeff was going about his usual day when he suddenly heard some clattering coming from his kitchen. Curious, he went to check it out, camera in hand.
Just sitting around here waiting for something to clean. Need something to clean. Anything over here? No, nothing in the sink there. How about over here? No, nothing there. Over here? No. People, need something to clean here. Let me take a closer look. Anything down here? No, nothing there. Alright, let me check over here. God, are you bored? Something to clean, please.
His kitchen tap was moving on its own, twisting and swiveling like it was searching for something to clean. Instead of panicking, Jeff couldn't resist joking about it, narrating the tap with silly voice lines like, "I need something to clean," and mimicking its motions. The comedic energy seemed to affect the situation. After a few more moments of playful banter, the tap stopped moving entirely, as if the spirit had been amused enough to leave. Jeff laughed it off, but remained cautious, keeping a camera nearby in case the kitchen decided to get playful again. The light-hearted approach was enough to end the encounter without needing any outside help. The following video took place in the house of Tommy Wells, and it was terrifying to say the least. He had been experiencing paranormal activity for a period as long as a month at the time of this recording, and it really was beginning to get too much. The things that this spirit was doing could not be written off as torment. This stuff was torture, and the next few videos on this channel are going to prove that, starting with today's. He and his wife set up a camera late one night to see what they would be able to capture, because they had documented their hauntings on YouTube for a while now. Fortunately, the ghost was still happy to showcase its powers in front of a camera.
I'm so glad we went and got this camcorder.
Is it working good?
Yeah, it's working real good.
Good deal. You got good color and everything?
Oh yeah, I like it.
Good deal. Might be one of the best investments we ever made, man. Wish
Oh,
I
yeah.
we had it in here earlier tonight with all that bullshit that's fucking going on.
Yeah, I know, we could have got it on camcorder then.
Had been awesome as shit.
Yep.
Oh. About ready to turn in and hit the bed?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
It's about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the friggin' morning, probably.
God.
Look, listen.
What is that, baby?
God damn, we ain't going
Oh,
to
shit.
bed yet. God damn it. Fuck. Hold on, Jerry, real quick. Watch out.
Okay.
I'll be straight back, baby.
Okay. Oh, shit!
What is it?
It's that noise.
Get out here with me. Come on. Jerry!
Where's Jerry?
Jerry! It's lights out. Get over here, man! Take it easy.
I don't know. I really don't know. What the hell was that? What was that?
That sounded like that pit bull got scared right there. We're out there raising hell. Just come with me and see what. Who the hell's in here? I'll check on Gary again, see if he's call him or something. Get him on the phone or something. Call him. He ain't over here yet.
This time, its most prominent showing was playing the piano, and you could tell it's been able to play this thing for years. Unfortunately, this was not the time for piano fun though, because it creeped the living hell out of the woman and Tommy. The most frightening part about all of this though, is that it is only the beginning and a long, treacherous night is ahead of them. Subscribe so you do not miss Tommy's future appearances on Haunter. The following video took place in August of 2006. Phil Koch was visiting a house in Milwaukee, Wisconsin that was going through an exorcism and cleansing. He wasn't particularly into ghosts, but he was there to photograph and video the house before the ritual began. As the group was starting the cleansing in the basement, Phil was getting ready to leave and decided to take one last shot of the living room.
Oh, come on. Alright, that wasn't cool.
On camera, a door suddenly opened by itself, opening a crack, whilst it was evident nobody was nearby. After the event, Phil packed up and left immediately, spooked by what he had captured. Though he wasn't normally concerned with the paranormal, the clip left him uneasy, and he avoided returning to the house as the ritual continued. Working security can get kind of spooky. The guard, who hated the job and was only doing it because he was young, had always dreamed of becoming a filmmaker. But for now, this was just a paycheck. The community college he patrolled had a dark reputation with rumors and stories of multiple people having shot themselves in the parking lot. This dark past made the job even creepier.
Spooky if it don't. Yo, did it again. Turn on my flashlight.
One night, the bathroom started making strange noises, flushing sounds, taps turning on and off, so he went in to check. As soon as he stepped inside the actual bathroom, all the sounds stopped. Nobody was there, and nothing seemed out of place. Despite being unsettled, he chose to keep the job rather than complain, chalking it up to faulty sensors and dark lore, while continuing to save for his true dream of filmmaking. Sean had always been skeptical about the strange noises coming from his attic door, and they had been haunting him from day one. His roommate Stephen insisted it was just the wind because Sean left his windows cracked for fresh air, but Sean wasn't so sure. Determined to catch what was happening on tape, he set up a camera on his jeans, aiming it at the attic entrance, turned off the lights, and went to bed.
Okay, everybody. We're in my closet, and I'm going to do the experiment of trying to get this on tape. My attic, it's right there. It always makes noise. It rattles all the time at night. I'm not sure if it's the suction of the wind in the attic or whatever it is, but I'm going to try to get this on film when I'm sleeping. So it is around 1 o'clock in the morning, so I'm going to place camera right up here on my jeans. So I'm trying to get this on film. Alrighty. Good night, Facebook. Well, if I can place it up here. There we go.
Around 3 a.m., the camera picked up weird noises coming from the attic, almost like taps. By 4 a.m., the attic door was clattering aggressively, as if something was trying to get out, and an orb even flew past the camera. Sean was left shaken but fascinated, reviewing the footage repeatedly and now seriously considering getting expert help to figure out what was haunting his attic. Derek had been working the late shift at the bar for years, and while he'd heard his fair share of ghost stories from staff and customers, he never took them seriously. That night, the place was quiet, except for the faint hum of the refrigeration units and the occasional creak from the old wooden beams. He was alone, methodically cleaning glasses and wiping down tables, trying to finish up so he could lock up and head home. Without warning, a stool on the far side of the bar suddenly tipped over and crashed onto the floor with a loud thud. Derek froze, staring at the fallen chair for a few seconds before running away. Just as he was able to make his escape, another set of random objects fell to the ground, as if someone moved them, but there was evidently no visible force. The air outside felt heavier, almost charged, and Derek's chest tightened with unease. The bizarre activity lasted only moments, but it was enough to shake him. From that night on, Derek made sure to finish his work earlier or bring someone along, unwilling to risk being in the building alone after hours again. Josh had stopped at a small restaurant for a quick meal, and after finishing, headed into the bathroom. It was nothing unusual, just a quiet, dimly lit space with the faint sound of the kitchen muffled through the walls. After taking care of business, he washed his hands and was about to leave when a strange feeling crept over him, like someone else was in the room watching. Moments later, the tap on one of the sinks suddenly turned on by itself, the water running for a few seconds before shutting off. Curious and unnerved, Josh pulled out his phone and started filming, scanning the empty bathroom.
Jesus Christ.
For a while, nothing happened, just the low hum of the ventilation fan and the sound of movement from Josh himself. Then, without warning, the faucet burst to life again, splashing water into the sink before shutting off on its own. That was enough for Josh. He grabbed his things, pushed the door open, and left the bathroom as quickly as he could, deciding he'd rather wait until he got home than risk another encounter like that. This particular doll had a sinister reputation long before it ever ended up in a collector's hands. Said to be from the Second World War, it was once used by a ventriloquist who toured military bases to lift the spirits of soldiers. But according to old records, the performer died suddenly under mysterious circumstances mid-tour, and the doll was never used again. Over the years, it changed owners multiple times, each reporting strange experiences such as unsettling noises at night, whispers in empty rooms, even claims of the doll moving on its own. Eventually, the head was locked in a glass display box for safety, sealed tightly to prevent tampering. As the camera focuses on the display, the doll's eyes, which should be permanently fixed shut, suddenly open wide. At the same moment, the glass door creaks open by itself. Just seconds later, the doll's eyes slide closed again, and the door moves again. Collectors who've seen this footage insist it proves what they've believed all along, that whatever spirit is attached to this doll is still very much alive. Some even warn it should never be taken out of its case again. Ahmed had always been fascinated by the unknown, spending his free time exploring old buildings, cemeteries, and spiritual places just for the thrill of documenting anything unusual. On one of his late-night outings, he found himself inside an abandoned home where the atmosphere felt heavy, almost like the walls themselves were watching. That's when he stumbled upon an old wardrobe tucked into the corner of a bedroom. The air around it felt colder, and the uneasy sensation in his chest told him he needed to record.
¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso? Hola. ¿Y la mosca que salió? Hola. Bien. Salió una mosca, miren. Ahí está la mosca. Y anda. Aquí había alguien adentro, ¿eh? ¿Estás aquí adentro? ¿Estás aquí adentro? Miren. Hola. Uy, ahí anda la mosca adentro, miren. ¿Dónde estás? Ay, Dios. Ay, Dios.
As the camera locked onto the wardrobe, its doors began to rattle violently, as if something inside was fighting to get out. Then, with a sudden force, one of the doors swung open wide. Eventually, one of the doors slammed shut again, leaving him shaken and speechless. He later admitted that this was the first time he truly questioned whether his hobby had crossed into something dangerous. Still, rather than quit, Ahmed's passion for the paranormal only deepened, and he now believes this wardrobe encounter was a direct sign that the spirits had acknowledged his presence. It was a special night for a family gathered to celebrate their grandmother's 90th birthday. The table was filled with laughter, food, and of course, the glowing cake sitting right in front of her. As everyone gathered around to sing happy birthday, the old woman sat beaming with joy, soaking in the love of her family.
Sople, todavía sopla. Sople. Sople la vela.
Apague la vela.
No, con la boca, con la boca.
But in the middle of the song, the atmosphere shifted. Just behind her chair, a shadow darted past, small and fast, almost like a child running across the room. The family didn't notice in the moment, too caught up in singing, but the footage later revealed what looked unmistakably like a ghostly figure slipping into the background. Some believe it was the spirit of a child joining the celebration, making the birthday far more chilling than anyone expected. Before the following video started to film, a woman began noticing something unsettling in her home. the distinct sound of footsteps going up and down her stairs at random times. At first, she thought it might be her house settling, or maybe a neighbor outside, but the pattern was too deliberate, too heavy to dismiss. Immediately, determined to find out what was causing it, she started filming.
I keep hearing somebody walk up and down my stairs, but there is obviously nobody there. There's nothing there. And it keeps coming up and down, up and down.
The sounds continued, loud and heavy, echoing through the stairwell as if someone invisible was running up and down. She called out a few times, but there was no response, no sign of movement other than the creaks beneath the unseen steps. The camera pans toward the stairs, clearly showing they're empty, yet the noises persist. Each step seems to press down hard, then stop, then start again. Her breathing grows uneasy as she realizes there's no logical explanation. Nobody else is home, no pets, no people, just those haunting footsteps stomping endlessly. The same woman, still shaken from the footsteps she'd heard days earlier, decided to keep her phone close just in case the noises returned. One evening, while relaxing in her living room, she began hearing something new. It was a deep, metallic scraping echoing from beneath her floor. It sounded slow, deliberate, and heavy, like something heavy and metal dragging across the floor. Take a look.
Guys, and if you hear it, that's exactly what I'm talking about. See, there's nothing out of place over here. There's nobody down here. I'm home alone. Like, there's nothing that should be making that noise. Nothing. I have no idea. This keeps happening. I'll hear this every now and again. But I do not want to be down here right now. I do not want to be down here. I just wanted to show you guys.
She made her way to the basement door, hesitating for a few seconds before opening it. As soon as she flicked the light switch on, the noise stopped completely. The basement fell silent, unnaturally so, as if whatever had been making the sound froze the moment she arrived. She stepped down the creaking steps and scanned the room, her eyes flickering everywhere, but everything was perfectly still. No pipes moving, no tools fallen over, no sign of life. She rushed back upstairs, locking the door behind her. Later, she said she would rather not enter the basement again, and there's no way you would either. Samantha was suddenly jolted awake at around 4 in the morning by strange noises echoing through her room. Still half asleep, but unnerved, she grabbed her phone, turned on the flashlight, and decided to start recording. Wanting people to see it live in case something truly happened, she began streaming on Facebook, a detail that would later prove the footage wasn't edited when it was re-uploaded to YouTube.
Oh, there's them up. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, fuck that shit. What the fuck? What's that? What's up there? What's that? What's that light? Oh, it's out of my charge. Please, it's off my charge. Oh, them up things fucking.
At first, everything seemed still, but a small orb drifted across the screen, faint but noticeable against the darkness. Samantha's breathing grew heavier as she whispered into the phone, mentioning what she saw. Just as she steadied her camera toward her wardrobe, a loud thud made her jump, signifying that something had fallen from the very top shelf with no visible cause. The stream immediately started being filled up with comments from people watching live, telling her to get out of the room. She panned the camera again, showing the fallen object on the floor, her voice trembling. In the aftermath, Samantha said she hadn't touched that shelf in weeks, and the item that fell was wedged firmly behind other boxes. Since that night, she's been too scared to sleep with the lights off, claiming the noises still return around the same time every morning. A Russian man had set out to explore what locals called an abandoned military bunker deep in the wilderness, a place rumored for years to be haunted by the spirits of those who never made it out. The entrance was a tunnel-like structure, half buried in dirt and stone, with air so still it felt untouched for decades.
Сейчас направляемся на поиски военной секретной заброшенной базы. Там, в лесу такие вот заброшки. Интересно сейчас найти эту базу. Так, идем. Она здесь здоровая, блин, эти дороги такие. Куча этих развилок. Будем направляться потихоньку. Вот, ребята, посмотрите. Подошли уже, нашли наконец-то эту военную секретную базу. Здесь никто не снимал еще, не лазил. И очень интересно самому и ребятам. Посмотрите, какие уже ангары. Так, очень опасно, чтобы не обвалилось. Пошли, ребята. Такие вот здание, помещение. Я думаю, достаем фонарик мой. Я взял. Все. О, смотрите, как классно светит. Ангар такой арочный. В лесу уже, видно, в земле заныканный. Такая вот была здесь военная база. Посмотрите. Какой ангар, ребята. Прикольно, что-то новенькое. И там много таких ангаров. Прикольно, ребята, давно не было у меня таких приключений. Типа сталка. Здесь, ребята, жутковато. Потому что здесь, блин, куча этих волков, зверей всяких. Подходим, идем дальше. Смотреть, Шо как? Вот, ребята, еще такой вот бункер. Фу, территория очень большая. Здесь будет очень тяжело найти эти шахты. Так. Пошли. А вот здесь уже стрёмненько, ребята. Какие-то комнаты. Что это было? Ребята! Фу, валим! Фу, блин! Там что-то было в том бункере. Жесть просто. Фу. По-моему, кто-то стоит. Валим! Фу, ребята. Фу. Вот это я, блин, нагонялся. Стрёмненько. Такая вот секретная военная база. Еще, блин, кто-то там лазил.
As he stepped inside, his flashlight cut through the heavy darkness, revealing crumbling walls, rusted pipes, and piles of rubble scattered across the ground. He moved carefully through the first few tunnels, whispering his thoughts in Russian, his voice echoing faintly off the concrete. After several minutes, he finally reached an exit that led him back outside into the cold air, the light from the trees almost blinding compared to what he had just come from. But curiosity got the better of him. He made his way to another sector nearby, one even darker and more decayed than the first. The moment he stepped inside, the atmosphere changed instantly to something thicker and heavier. That's when it happened. From the corner of his light, a faint human figure began emerging from a doorway at the end of the hall. He froze for half a second before bolting out of the bunker, the camera shaking as he gasped for breath. Later, he swore he'd never return to that site again, convinced whatever he saw in that tunnel wasn't living. The following video has the context of a man sitting quietly at home when a series of loud bangs began echoing from his garage. At first, he thought it was the wind or maybe something falling from a shelf, but the sounds were too heavy, too deliberate. Grabbing his phone and a flashlight, he went to check it out.
What is that noise?
The moment he entered the garage, the banging grew louder, pounding in quick bursts that made the metal walls tremble. He followed the sound until he realized it wasn't coming from the floor or the walls, it was above him. The attic hatch in the ceiling was moving ever so slightly, the latch trembling as if something was pushing against it from the other side. He stood frozen, watching it shift just enough to make his heart race before the movement suddenly stopped. Gathering his nerve, he reached up and pulled the hatch down, the ladder unfolding with a creak that echoed through the quiet garage. Slowly, he climbed the steps, flashlight in hand, scanning the corners of the attic. Dust, insulation, and old boxes, nothing else. The place was completely empty, but what unsettled him most was the feeling that, even in the silence, something up there was still watching him from the dark. The following evening, as he walked up the path toward his house, every light inside suddenly flicked off at once. The blackout was so abrupt that he immediately pulled out his phone and began recording.
I was walking towards my house, and all the lights suddenly turned off inside. I don't know if my wife's home or not.
He unlocked the door cautiously and stepped inside, using his flashlight to cut through the thick darkness. His voice was tense as he narrated to us, but nobody else was there, and the house stayed eerily silent. Moving slowly from room to room, the beam of his light caught something swaying above the kitchen table, the ceiling light, still moving back and forth like someone had just brushed past it. He stepped closer, audibly getting nervous, but deep down he knew better. From the kitchen, he walked into the garage, hoping maybe his wife had come home early, but her car wasn't there. He was completely alone. That night he packed a small bag and went to stay with a friend, saying he needed space from whatever was happening in that house. He later said he wasn't sure what his next move would be, but one thing was certain. He wouldn't be spending another night there until he had real answers. Late one night, a woman in her car started filming after her dog began whining uncontrollably at the window across the street. The animal's behavior was strange, with its ears pinned back, tail tucked, refusing to move. Curious and uneasy, she aimed her camera across the road toward the house opposite.
No, no es normal eso. Ahí paró. Correte. Sí, porque no es que sube y baja así del...
Through the glass of a vibrantly lit upstairs window, something could be seen moving back and forth at an unnaturally fast pace. The figure's motion was erratic and too smooth to be human, gliding side to side in a blur that didn't match the lighting or the rhythm of a person walking. His dog clearly felt some sort of weird presence, and it was almost as if it could sense something he couldn't. Eventually, the figure finally stopped appearing, but it took way longer than expected. It was roughly 3 hours after the clip ended. To this day, he claims no one lives in that house anymore, and his dog still refuses to go near the window after dark. Ian, the Midwest ghost hunter, is one of the most subscribed ghost hunters, and this is from his haunted theater experience, the one where so many strange encounters have already taken place. Still determined to uncover more evidence, he swept his camera slowly around the empty room, giving a full 360-degree view of the walls and the curtains that lined them.
Creepy. Ooh, this is one of the creepiest nights I've experienced so far. Mabel, are you still over here? If she peeks up from those curtains, I'm out of here. That's it, I'm running. Oh man, just imagine.
As he zoomed in on one of the far curtains, the footage abruptly cut to another camera angle pointed at a stairway. This time, the shot had zero movement, no shaking. For a few seconds, nothing happened until a faint white mist began to descend the stairs, almost floating down step by step before fading near the bottom. The mist didn't behave like dust or light glare, and Ian himself confirmed there was no fog or smoke in the building that night. Whatever it was, it seemed to have its own form and direction. For those following Ian's journey through this haunted theater, this moment only deepens the mystery. Subscribe so you don't miss what he discovers next. The nursing home where she worked reception had always had a reputation in town, the kind of place people whispered about but never openly discussed. Residents would sometimes talk about seeing people in their rooms who weren't really there, and more than one nurse had quit after hearing voices in empty hallways. The building itself was old, with long corridors and dim lighting that seemed to swallow sound, and at night it carried an atmosphere that was almost unbearable. She'd gotten used to ignoring the strange things she heard during her shifts, but deep down she knew there was something wrong with the place.
Estaba haciendo en vivo aquí en el asilo de ancianos y se estaban escuchando muchos ruidos. Y mucha gente, cuando me acercaba a la silla de ruedas, notaba que algo se miraba, algo se escuchaba. Vamos a ver la silla de ruedas. No mames. ¿Viste eso? Cuando estaba haciéndole en vivo y yo me acercaba aquí a la silla de ruedas, se cortaba, se escuchaba mucho interferencia, se escuchaban voces. Vean esto, vean. No sé si miraste cómo se movió. Cuando estaba haciéndole en vivo y yo me acercaba aquí, se cortaba, se escuchaban demasiadas voces. A mí no me gustan las sillas de ruedas porque yo sé que ahí hay mucha energía. Pasos para allá. Ay. ¿Escuchan? Escucha que cerraron la puerta. No sé si escucharon la puerta. Pero aquí siempre hay actividad. Es la primera vez que veo una silla de ruedas aquí. Ponme un comentario si lograste mirar cómo se movió la silla de ruedas. Si es que viste.
In her recording, she explained that a wheelchair had been moving on its own, and as if to prove her point, it suddenly rolled backwards slowly into the middle of the hall. As the camera kept rolling, Noises echoed down the corridor, unsettling and unexplainable. Moments later, a door at the far end slammed shut, even though nobody else was supposed to be on the floor. She admitted afterward that this was the first time she truly believed the stories the residents and staff had been whispering all along, and though she tried to finish her shift, she left that night shaken and swore she would never work another late shift again. Beerka and her husband had always been wary of one particular doll sitting on their shelf, a hand-me-down passed through the family that carried a strange history. It was originally gifted to her grandmother, but everyone who'd owned it since claimed it brought nothing but unease with odd noises, cold drafts, and the sensation of being watched. Beerka had always laughed it off, keeping the doll tucked away among other decorations in their living room.
Kiss? It's not a kiss, Easel. Come on, kiss.
Oh well. She tries.
In one video, her husband was filming her as she played around with their pet bird, leaning in to kiss it and laughing while the camera caught the wholesome moment. What Beerka didn't realize was that just behind her, the doll on the shelf shifted on its own, caught clearly in the frame. For extra proof, they later showed another clip of the doll, moving randomly at a different time, confirming it wasn't a coincidence. Shaken by the realization that the family heirloom might actually be cursed, Beerka has already made plans to get rid of it entirely, convinced that keeping it any longer could put her and her family in danger. Ethan had been working at the sneaker store for a couple of years and loved every minute of it. The thrill of new releases, the energy of customers hunting for the latest drops, and the small joy of arranging the shelves just right made it more than just a job. It was a passion. Most evenings were quiet, giving him time to tidy up or just enjoy the calm after a busy day. One day, while the store was completely empty, Ethan was leaning against the counter scrolling through his phone when something caught his eye on the CCTV monitor. A sneaker on one of the higher shelves suddenly toppled to the floor, clattering loudly despite no one being inside. Startled, he sprinted into the storage room for a moment to collect himself, then cautiously returned to the spot. After a few deep breaths, he picked up the sneaker and carefully placed it back on the shelf, still shaken but trying to rationalize what had just happened. Despite the unsettling moment, Ethan's love for the job didn't waver, though he couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that lingered in the empty store. The story is easy to continue, leaving room for whatever strange encounter might happen next. The next morning, Ethan arrived at the store to begin his shift, still unsettled from the previous night. As he walked in, his eyes immediately landed on a crock lying on the floor, one that had definitely not been there when he locked up. Confused and slightly alarmed, he checked the CCTV footage from the night before. The video clearly showed the sneaker sliding off its shelf and hitting the floor, seemingly on its own, with no one else in the store. Unsure of what to do, Ethan reported the incident to his manager, explaining everything exactly as he saw it. We have no clue what happened after this interaction, but hopefully he got the help he deserves. Marty had been noticing strange things in his home for quite some time, mostly little oddities he couldn't explain. For weeks, the door to his bedroom seemed to move on its own, the handle twisting or rattling as if someone or something were trying to get in. One night, determined to finally capture it on camera, he grabbed his phone and started filming, moving around the room quickly to show that it was completely empty.
It's fucked up, look. Right, I'm going to try and prove this time. I'm going to round the room as quick as I can and prove that no one is in this room. Hang on. How to explain that?
The door handle twisted and turned on its own, but when he stepped inside the room, there was absolutely nothing there. After reviewing the footage, Marty felt a mix of relief and unease. It was clear that whatever had been causing the door to move was real, or at least unexplainable by normal means. He started setting up extra cameras around the house to see if he could capture more activity, and kept a notebook to record the times and patterns of the occurrences. Friends and family were skeptical, but he insisted on documenting everything, hoping to eventually make sense of it. Despite the lingering fear, Marty became more cautious in his home, double-checking doors and windows, and even occasionally leaving a light on at night. The experience left him both fascinated and wary, knowing that the strange activity could return at any moment. Rosanna had been having a fairly quiet night, the kind where everything felt normal and predictable. That is, until she was woken by the sound of a baby crying. Groggy and confused, she got out of bed to check, only to find her laptop in the living room playing the crying sounds, something she hadn't opened or touched. What happened next was horrifying, so take a look.
Arrête. Arrête.
Heart pounding, she followed the noise to the next room. That's when she saw it, a doll, hovering unnaturally in the air, staring at her. After locking eyes with it for a few tense seconds, the doll suddenly dropped to the floor. Shaken, Rosanna stepped into the room to get a closer look, but as soon as she did, the door slammed shut behind her, leaving her trapped in there for a moment. She later admitted that the experience left her rattled, and she began considering professional help to understand what was happening in her home. Ian is still in the abandoned theater that he has been in for several of my videos now, ghost hunting. The air felt colder than before, and the familiar creaks of the old building seemed amplified in the empty space. As he cautiously set down a still camera, a sudden mist appeared briefly on a chair, lingering just long enough to make him freeze. Moments later, another unexplained glow emerged from a different chair across the room, faint but unmistakable against the darkness. Finally, a drifting light seemed to leave the room entirely, moving toward the hall before fading out of view. Ian left the room shaken, but more determined than ever to uncover the truth behind its eerie occurrences. In 2011, a man named Henning was relaxing in his living room when he began hearing some strange cluttering sounds. At first, he brushed it off, assuming it was the house settling or something outside, but the noises persisted long enough to get under his skin. Finally, he grabbed his phone and went to investigate.
Hello? Hallo? 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 Hallo?
Following the sound, he discovered it was coming from one of the doors inside his home. The knob was shaking on its own, rattling as if someone was desperately trying to get in or out. Gathering his courage, Henning reached out, pulled the door open, and revealed absolutely nothing on the other side. For a moment he just stood there, baffled and uneasy, but before he could process it further, the door suddenly slammed shut right in front of him, nearly knocking the phone from his hand. The clip ends with him stunned, standing in disbelief, realizing he may not have been as alone in his home as he thought. Mike the runner decided he was going to visit an abandoned elementary school after hearing local rumors about how haunted it was. Even though he'd never really bought into paranormal stories, the curiosity of exploring a forgotten place pushed him to go anyway. With his camera in hand, he walked through the halls, surrounded by peeling paint, graffiti, and unsettling silence. His lens panned over drawings on the floor that looked like they had been left behind by children decades ago, adding an eerie layer to the atmosphere. However, it wasn't that which caused the real fear. It was something caught on camera at the end. While walking, he could swear he was hearing footsteps behind him, and eventually, he caught the probable cause on camera. It was a large and uncanny creature that caused him to bolt out of the facility, so comment what you think it was. A man decided to start documenting the strange things happening around his home after weeks of hearing noises he couldn't explain. At first it seemed small, but then the activity grew, and finally, one night, he managed to capture a series of events that left him shaken.
Man, this. The f is that? What the f is that? Some in the water and a what? The f is that? Man, some in my house. Get the f out. The f is that? Oh, that, I'm out. I'm out.
The footage begins with flashing lights in not just one, but two different rooms at the same time, pulsing in a way that looks completely unnatural. As he takes a moment to process what happened, an object sitting on the kitchen table, what appeared to be a salt shaker, suddenly shoots straight up into the air, hitting the ceiling before crashing back down. The man can be heard gasping in shock, barely processing what he's just seen, but before he can even react properly, the chair at the same table begins to slide across the surface, moving directly toward him as if being pushed by invisible hands. He immediately cuts the recording after this, and later admitted that it was the moment he realized whatever was inside his house wasn't just trying to get his attention, but possibly trying to intimidate him. Blackwing96, an online creator who's spoken before about his house being haunted, finally decided to try and capture proof of the activity he's lived with for years. One evening, after hearing strange noises coming from his bedroom, he grabbed his phone and began to record, determined to see what was happening.
Hey guys, it's Blackwing96, and I've been hearing some bumping noises upstairs, like right where my room is. I'm just gonna take a look at. Come on. Okay. Really. What the f was that? You guys hear that, right? Okay. That bottle of Windex was right here. I left it there this morning. It was right there. My room's kind of messy right now because blizzards and such shit like that. I don't really know what I'm supposed to say. Oh, can you do that again?
The video shows him slowly approaching the door, pausing as faint sounds come from inside. When he walks in, his camera focuses on the desk in the corner, just as a mug slides a few inches on its own. Clearly startled, Blackwing 96 can be heard nervously laughing and asking it to do it again. Almost as if responding, the mug shifts once more, this time pushing all the way off the desk and smashing to the floor. His voice cracks in disbelief as he backs away, realizing that whatever presence he's been sharing the house with is more responsive and more real than he ever wanted it to be. A woman visiting her sister in the hospital swore she caught something strange out of the corner of her eye and decided to go looking for proof. With her phone in hand, she began walking through the dimly lit halls, recording as she went.
Otra vez están escuchando muchos ruidos. Oigan, ¿de dónde viene ese ruido? Se escucha como que gritaran, como si hablaran. No es nadie. Se escucha que grita. Creo que es de acá. Oiga, hay veces que se oyen las sillas de ruedas que caminan, que hablan. ¿Qué podrá ser? Ay, ¿qué podrá ser? ¡Ay, no! ¿Qué es eso? ¡Ay, no! Ahora sí, mire algo. No puede ser. No puede ser, ¿escucharon? Ahora sí sentí que alguien me tocó de verdad. Tengo que ir. No abre el pinche elevador. Les había dicho que se escucha mucho ruido. Voy a tener que ir por mi hija. ¡Abre! No abre. No está abriendo el elevador.
At first, everything seemed ordinary, but then a wooden shelf inside one of the side rooms suddenly slid across the floor entirely on its own, sending her into a panic. She immediately bolted for the nearest elevator, but on the way she yelped, saying she felt something brush against her arm, even though no one was around. The camera shakes as she stumbles, clearly terrified, before she finally makes it into the elevator and out of the ward. The footage has since left people convinced the hospital holds more than just patients inside its walls. That same night after escaping the hospital, she went straight home and crawled into bed, hoping the unsettling events were behind her. But just a few hours later, she was jolted awake by strange noises echoing through the house. Grabbing her phone once again, she went downstairs to investigate.
No mames. No sé si pueden escuchar. El bote de la basura. Ching. Y el pinche bote de la basura se abre y se cierra solo. Ay, ¿qué se... Oye. ¿Qué podrá ser? No mames. ¿Qué ching? Oh, ¿qué es? ¿Qué chingados es? ¡Ay! Se escucha. ¡Ay, no mames! ¿Qué es esto? El pinche bote de basura se está abriendo y cerrando solo.
¿Por qué chingados está haciendo eso?
The recording shows her carefully walking through the dark rooms, whispering as she tried to trace the source of the sound. It seemed to grow louder the closer she got to the bathroom, until finally she reached the bathroom where the trash can was, and it began opening and closing on its own, over and over, as if something inside was taunting her. Her breathing quickened, and she backed away in fear. She later admitted that after this moment, she began looking into buying a new home, convinced that whatever had followed her back from the hospital was not going to leave anytime soon. Sydney was home alone, her husband at work, and her baby peacefully napping in his crib. She decided to record a clip, capturing the chandelier swaying slightly above her and faint, unsettling noises in the background, as if someone were moving around upstairs.
Y'all, something really creepy is happening right now. My husband's at work, I'm the only one home, and listen. It sounds like someone is upstairs walking around. Okay, I'm actually freaking out because I just heard something drop upstairs, like on my ceiling. Hang on. Okay, I turned the video off because I'm actually really freaked out. That baby monitor that you saw laying on the ground is normally attached to the wall. My son isn't crawling, walking, pulling himself up, anything like that yet. So there's no way he could have done that. So now what do I do? All right, we're literally leaving the house. We're leaving the house.
The sounds grew louder until a sudden bang echoed from the upper floor. She cautiously went upstairs, only to find her son napping safely. However, the baby monitor, which was usually firmly screwed to the wall and far out of his reach, had somehow been dislodged and was lying on the floor. Confused and unnerved, Sydney decided to leave the house for a while, needing space to process the strange and inexplicable events she had just witnessed. Ian, the Midwest ghost hunter, is no stranger to abandoned places, always drawn to the thrill of exploring historic and reportedly haunted sites. On this night, he decided to investigate an old, abandoned theater that had long been rumored to have paranormal activity. The air smelled of dust and decay, and cobwebs hung from the rafters, but nothing had seemed out of place, until he spotted a faint, eerie mist drifting across the stage. Feeling both curious and cautious, he grabbed his camera and started recording.
Let me see if I can catch any on video. I know this is going to sound weird, being that I'm by myself, but I feel like I'm in a full house right now. There's so much energy in the air, I could just feel it. It's unbelievable. Oh my God! No way did all these lights just turn on. What the fuck? Guys, I feel like I'm about to lose my freaking shit. If you just turn the lights on, could you shut them off? This theater is coming to life before my very eyes. This whole place is just alive right now. Could you please shut the lights off? Whoever turned them on. Could you shut him off? I don't even know what to say, guys. I am utterly speechless right now. I'm just taking this all in. Amazing. Truly amazing. Holy crap. I'm the only one here. And I mean, unless there's like some...
Suddenly, all the lights in the theater turned on at once, illuminating the dusty interior in a harsh glare. Ian, speaking into the camera, asked the ghost to turn them off again, but nothing changed. The lights remained stubbornly on. Despite the playful attempt to communicate, the ghost refused to comply, leaving Ian visibly frustrated and spooked as the clip ends, teasing more discoveries to come in future explorations, so subscribe. David, an Italian ghost hunter fluent in English, had been exploring what his client claimed could possibly be one of the most haunted houses in the area when something strange made him start recording. He explained that just moments before filming, a plant in the corner had shifted on its own and the chandelier above him had started to sway.
Okay, TikTok. I'm in another fucking haunted house, I swear. This plant just moved and the chandelier. My client went out to town, elderly guy, but he's here alone, but he has a lot of these artifacts here. I don't think I have an attachment or anything. But yeah. Whoa, what the hell? Is this what I'm talking about? You guys heard that?
As he continues talking to the camera, a loud sound of a door slamming closed can be heard somewhere deeper in the house, more than likely upstairs. David looks around, while behind him the chandelier begins to swing again, more noticeably this time. The movement is slow, deliberate, and eerily timed, with each sound coming from elsewhere in the house. He stands still for a few seconds, narrating the video, clearly unsure of what to do next. This investigation doesn't stop here though. This story will continue in a future video on my channel. Subscribe. The following video begins with the sound of deep, uneasy breathing. A man is filming from his bed, phone trembling slightly in his hand. From downstairs, a woman's voice can be heard calling out the words, "Babe, come downstairs," over and over, each time sounding a little more impatient.
What the Alexa, turn on all lights.
I couldn't find any enabled video skills.
Really?
To do that. Go to the Alexa
Thanks,
app
Alexa.
to manage your video skills and devices.
Then, the sound of a door opening and closing echoes through the house. The man knows that nobody else should be home, and the clip abruptly switches to CCTV, footage from downstairs, showing a door near the hallway swinging open on its own, before slowly shutting again. The woman's voice stops entirely after that, replaced by something much more chilling. A faint, mechanical tune that sounds like it's coming from a toy somewhere in the man's room. The camera shakes as he pans around trying to find the source, and the eerie, dollhouse-like melody keeps looping, echoing through the silence. The man doesn't speak again after that, just films in disbelief as the sound continues until the video cuts, leaving viewers wondering if the voice that called him down was ever really human. The next clip from this story shows Ali's prayer mat, and he starts his explanation saying the story took place whilst he was praying. He explains in a low voice the eerie music from the night before. The same dollhouse-like tune has started again, coming from a small music box he keeps on his shelf.
Guys, I was just praying and the music box just started playing by itself. Can you do that again? Nope. Nope. Nope, nope, nope.
The camera focuses on it as the melody begins to play on its own, no one touching it. The soft, mechanical tune echoes through the room, sending chills through the silence. Ali's breathing grows heavier, and he mutters a prayer under his breath before kneeling forward again. He films the music box continuing to play despite not being wounded. Once it finally stops, he prays 3 more times in succession, visibly shaken, but trying to stay composed. He later explains that whatever is in his home doesn't seem to want to leave, and that he's now considering bringing in someone spiritual to cleanse the place. In the next clip, we see a woman sitting at her desk, casually talking to the camera. Her tone is calm but clearly frustrated as she explains how she's been having strange problems lately with managing to get people to come to her shows, and she doesn't understand how. She is evidently confused with the situation, but little did she know that she was about to become far more confused from something else.
I just want to know how I can get people to come to our shows. How do we get people to come to our shows? No, I'm just trying to understand. Tell me it doesn't look like there's someone right here. There's not.
As she continues talking, behind her, in the doorway that seems to lead to a closet, something suddenly falls to the floor in a swift motion. The movement is quick and sharp. Cutting through the quiet room, she freezes mid-sentence, her eyes darting toward the sound, before slowly turning around in disbelief. From the camera's angle, it's clear the doorway is fully visible, meaning no one could have been inside or near it. After ending the clip, she gets up, cautiously walks to the closet, opens it wide, and finds nothing inside. Very spooky indeed. It begins with the sound of frantic barking echoing through a quiet house. The camera switches on as the person behind the camera is very confused because they don't even own a dog. The barking seems to be coming from below, down near the basement.
Hello?
Oh my God!
As they approach the staircase, the noise grows louder, mixed with the unsettling noise of the basement door, repeatedly opening and closing at the bottom. The person hesitates for a moment, panning the camera to their blue-haired friend behind them, before slowly making their way down. The sound of claws against the floor echoes up the steps, the barking sharp and desperate. When they reach the halfway point, something starts charging upward, heavy, rapid footsteps, but there's nothing visible. No animal, no figure, just the sound rushing past the camera. The person gasps and stumbles back up the stairs out of fear. What's most unsettling is how real the barking sounded, yet how completely invisible whatever made it was. Viewers have started calling it one of the clearest recordings of a ghost dog ever caught on camera. A few days later, the man's mother came over to visit, bringing her dog along. Wanting to prove what he'd been hearing, he decided to film again while she was upstairs. The clip begins with him standing halfway down the basement stairs, camera in hand, while the same unsettling noises echo from below. The sound of the basement door rattling and creaking is identical to before, as if whatever caused it had returned. At the top of the stairs, his mother's dog stands frozen, staring down into the darkness, its ears pinned back and body tense. The man takes a breath and walks down the remaining steps. He flips on the basement light, revealing the quiet, still space below, except for one single door at the far end, the one that always seems to make the noise. As he gets closer, the air seems heavy, the only sound being the faint hum of the light above. Then, without warning, the door creaks open entirely on its own. From the top of the stairs, the dog lets out a deep bark, barking again and again, refusing to come down. The man freezes, whispering for it to stop, but the barking only grows louder. He runs away. Viewers later pointed out how dogs often sense things humans can't, leaving many convinced that whatever was haunting that basement had finally made itself known. The footage begins upstairs this time, showing the man cautiously standing in his sitting room, camera in hand. The camera aims at a cabinet before, without warning, the right door creaks open all on its own. He stops dead in his tracks, filming it slowly swinging wider, and it's important to remember nobody else was home. Then, from across the hallway, the light above another room begins to sway back and forth, casting long, distorted shadows on the walls. He steps closer, his breathing quick and uneven, each creak of the floorboards echoing through the house. Just as he reaches out toward the swinging light, a sudden thunderous smash explodes somewhere nearby, cutting the electricity completely. Every light in the house goes out in an instant. The camera captures his panicked breathing in the darkness as he scans around, trying to see what broke. Then, for just a second, he freezes and stumbles back. The lens catches him staring into a nearby room, and then he sounds audibly shocked at what he saw in there. The clip ends there as he turns and runs, leaving viewers certain that whatever haunted his basement had now made its way up gears. A man who had been struggling with strange activity in his home for months finally decided to bring in a medium for answers. After walking through the property, the medium explained that the disturbances were being caused by a haunted object he unknowingly kept in his possession. The problem was, he had no idea what that object could be, and despite searching, he never managed to identify it.
You've been warned. You wanted ghost videos, here they are. In this video, it's at night when he was sleeping and he caught it on his inside living room camera. He lives alone and has started to get poltergeists. And the mediums that he had come in said it's because he has something in his possession that's haunted, but he has no idea what it is and he can't find it. So this is the first of several videos.
On one of his security cameras inside the house, 2 orbs of light can be seen drifting across the room before a nearby door creaks open on its own. Moments later, something even more unsettling appears, a dark mist crawling briefly along the floor before vanishing. The footage left him more unsettled than ever, and without knowing which item was to blame, he feared the activity would only continue. The very next day, after capturing the orbs and the dark mist, the man thought things might calm down, but instead they escalated. Late in the evening, he heard the distinct sound of purring outside his bedroom, assuming it was his cat. Calling its name several times, he grew uneasy when the animal never appeared. Wanting to document what was happening, he pulled out his camera.
Man, you guys really like ghost videos, huh? Holy shit. Just a little caveat, I am not the forefront leader in all things ghost videos. My brother has a few scary videos I thought I'd post. I am not going to be the person you go to for ghost content. With that said, I do have a few more. Here's another video.
Felix. Felix.
As he approached the door ahead of him, a shadowy figure could be seen lingering in the small crack where the door met the frame. The sight made his breathing quicken, and after a few tense moments, the door suddenly swung shut on its own, with the shadow shifting out of view as it did. This moment left him shaken, especially since the purring sounded so similar to his actual cat, and his cat never returned to that hallway. Before this unsettling cat clip even took place though, the man had actually experienced something just as disturbing. Earlier that same night, he noticed a strange reflection shifting outside his room, almost like a figure was standing there in the dim light. Gripped by unease, he quickly snapped a photograph, unsure of what he would capture. When he looked at the picture, his heart sank.
Ghost, ghost, and more ghost. I gotcha. I have a few more videos. I love that everybody is so involved and into all of the different videos and hauntings of my brother's apartment. I've set this one up because it's pictures, so before I get all of the comments of this is fake, it's not. I don't have enough time on my hands to try to fake this. Neither does my brother. So I try to set it up pretty well. I have one more video after this, and then they'll start trickling in slowly because he doesn't get haunted on an hourly basis. So let me know what you think of this one. This one actually freaked me out more than all of the videos, and the videos were pretty fucking freaky. So here you go.
Felix.
The photo clearly showed the outline of a shadow figure, standing just outside his room on the stairs that clearly couldn't be stood on, its shape warped and unnatural against the hallway wall. He described the image as one of the most frightening things he had ever seen, because unlike a fleeting video clip, a photograph meant the figure had been truly present, caught in that exact moment in terrifying clarity. After that chilling photograph, the house fell eerily quiet for a few days. No knocks, no shadows, no strange sounds in the night. For a brief moment, the man began to hope that whatever presence had been tormenting him was finally gone. But deep down, the silence didn't bring comfort, but it only made him more anxious, like the calm before a storm. Every creak of the floorboards or hum of the pipes kept him on edge, waiting for the next unexplainable moment to shatter the fragile peace. The uneasy calm didn't last. One day, while he was working quietly at home, the peace finally broke.
You guys want more? All right, here's ghost video number 2. For those that are joining, my brother's house is haunted. He lives by himself. He's been haunted for a few years now, actually, and it's all because a medium once told him he has an item in his house that is possessed and or haunted, and until he gets rid of that, the hauntings are going to continue. So until he figures out what that item is, because he has no idea, we're going to keep getting these videos, and I'll keep posting them because everyone seems to like them, and they freak me the hell out. So here's number 2.
A camera positioned in the top corner of the room caught the bathroom lights slowly turning themselves off and then back on again, as though someone unseen was playing with the switch. Before he even had time to process it, a door from across the house slammed shut with such force that it echoed through the rooms, making him jump out of his chair. The suddenness of it all left him shaken, and it became clear the haunting hadn't ended. It was only biding its time. Bruno had always cherished a small toy skateboard that sat proudly on the kitchen table, a gift from his grandfather before he passed away. That night, while idly playing with it, he suddenly felt the strange urge to start filming, as if something inside him knew something was about to happen.
¡Bruno! ¡Bruno! Se movió la silla.
¿Leal?
Sí.
Era Jorge.
Tipo, es arquitecta.
Era Jorge.
As the camera rolled, the chair adjacent to him suddenly slid back from the table all on its own, the scraping sound sending chills through the air. Terrified, Bruno immediately bolted to find his brother, and the two returned cautiously to the kitchen to see what had happened. Just as they stepped inside, the door to the room slammed shut with such force it shook the frame. The brothers were left frozen, staring at each other in disbelief. Afterwards, Bruno admitted he couldn't shake the feeling that his grandfather's presence might somehow be tied to the event, though whether it was a warning, a sign, or something darker, he wasn't sure. A group of friends were sitting around together, just enjoying a relaxed conversation with no tension in the air. No odd vibes, just the usual banter you'd expect on a quiet night. Everything felt perfectly normal until a sudden bang came from the cupboard nearby. Curious rather than alarmed, one of them pulled out her phone to film.
¿Es suara? ¿Es suara?
Gue takut nih. Gimana ini balikinnya?
Angin kali?
Enggak ada. Kosong coy.
The camera caught one of the cupboard doors slowly creaking open on its own, making everyone go silent for a moment. The woman holding the camera cautiously stepped closer to check, but as soon as she peeked inside, she jumped back in fear, letting out a sharp gasp. Whatever she saw wasn't clear on camera, leaving only the sound of her reaction to go by. Tell me in the comments if you can make out what scared her. Esther had gone to her father's grave on the 5th anniversary of his passing, just as she did every year. She always made sure to clean up around the headstone, refill the plant pot, and spend some quiet moments reflecting. But on this particular visit, something strange unfolded.
Sigo. Aquí no hay aire. Una pequeña tumba donde tuve un reilete que gira. Sigo insistiendo, yo pedí quien quisiera, con todo el respeto, de mí hacia ellos y de ellos hacia mí, obviamente. He visto 3 reiletes distintos que giren. No hay aire. Sigo insistiendo, hay mínimo aire como para que el reilete gire de esta manera. Lo ilógico es que gire reiletes y hasta apenas inicia a moverse. No hay aire. Miren, ahí hay unas plantas. No se alcanzan a ver que no hay movimiento de las plantas. Pero aquí, sin embargo, hay un reilete. Aquí estoy. Ya paro en automático. Voy a girar. Para eso me acerco y cuando gira, este pequeño reilete. Voy a intentar leer su nombre. Creo que no logro distinguir bien su nombre, pero aquí está el reilete girando. Lo curioso es que justo ahora que hay un poco de aire, cuando hay un poco de aire se para. ¿Ya fijaste? El otro es completamente estático, no es broma, vean. Voy a retirarme para que vean. No, ahorita va a girar. Está estático. Le voy a pedir. Ay, Dios, no puedo leer tu nombre porque no quiero mover tus reiletes. Pero muéveme uno. Puedes moverme los dos, te lo voy a agradecer. Eso lo extraño. Solo uno mueve y el otro no. Sí, va. Solo alcanzó a distinguir bien Estrada. Voy a parar un poco el video.
Sitting on the grave were 2 wind spinners side by side. Despite there being no wind at all, only one of them began to spin slowly and steadily, while the other remained completely still. The odd contrast made the moment feel eerie, almost as if it were deliberate. Esther couldn't help but wonder if it was her father reaching out to her in some subtle way, a small sign of communication from beyond.